One of my friends went to Five Guys the other day and waited like 50 minutes for a shake. That's 50. He was able to get a refund for it as well, but it really got me thinking about just how glad I am that I'm planning to cook at home more. In fact, I would even go as far as say I'm going to make all the possible restaurant dishes that I can with what I can get from the supermarket with a little help from ChatGPT, just because probably for the price of about one or two dishes from a certain place or the price of one meal delivery, I could get like a week's worth of it. I don't have the numbers in front of me, so I can't really do any numbers, but let's go with Five Guys for a minute. Now, the last time I went there, that was the day I had to go to Stop and Shop to get my business done because my mom ran late picking me up from the theater, so she covered the cost of it. But a bacon cheeseburger, it might have been just been a regular cheeseburger, the regular size one, not the little one. A little fries and I think I got a small drink. Came out to $23.19. Now, that's easy for me to remember because of the Monsters Inc. reference, but also, man, for that kind of money, for a little more, I could actually buy a whole week's worth of burgers from Star Market because $12 each for an 8 pack of, I have 4 pack each of pre shaped burger patties. That's 23.98, so that's already more, but you get 8 patties. Then you factor in $2 for an 8 pack of store brand buns, about $3 for a 16 pack of store brand cheese slices, and then $3.50 for a bag of store brand French fries. Divide that by 8, and each individual one comes out to see 350. Let's say about 450 for the total for the cheese, and then about $6 or $7 per meal for a grand total of for that. Maybe 8 when you factor in the sparkling water instead of soda. But yeah, you get a much better deal. You get over a week's worth of dinner. Of course, the trade off is you do have to prepare it yourself, but that's a small price to pay for salvation. When it comes to a milkshake like my friend had, hey, if you already have a blender, all you gotta do is buy some ice cream and milk, maybe whatever other mix-ins you want, and it'll probably come out to less long term. You could probably make the same size shakes about, and each one would cost a lot less. So I actually tried making everything from scratch for a time during the summer of 2023. I'd use ChatGPT to come up with different recipes, and then I would get the raw materials and then go from there. Yeah, it was a little time consuming, but it was worth it to save some money. Plus, I can use the time to listen to my audiobook because I think I may have talked about it before, but there's this clip of Andrew Tate out there where he rages against cooking. So in it, he goes like, "You're going to spend time preparing food?" Now actually think about it. The last thing you should do as a person who, if you're poor, is prepare a meal. And he goes on about that and he calls cooking a quote, a waste of your human time. And he also says that a real man has a woman who cooks for him, where he's like, cook. But yeah, just like not going to Starbucks isn't going to help you afford a house, cooking is not, instead of going out to restaurants, is not going to save you that much time. It's not going to be the make or break. Sure, if you're smart about what you get, you could make it work. But if you know what you're doing, you can keep the time consumption to a minimum and you don't have, and it's a lot more reliable compared to the day my friend had, where he had to wait 50 minutes, again, 50, for a milkshake. Now, he said something about them being either understaffed or too many people coming in at once. Whereas generally at home, assuming you have good appliances, you can more reliably make food at home You don't have to worry about, oh, I came in on a day where there weren't that many people working. Oh, worry about I don't have to worry about there being a long line. I don't have to wait in line. I can just follow the recipe and then I have my food. Again, 23.19 for one meal, not a great investment unless you're desperate. So, I'm not saying restaurants shouldn't exist in the first place. Free market and all. I'm not saying you should never ever go to one. Now, I would advocate planning ahead on trips by having food ready to go, such as, say, protein bars and cheese slash peanut butter cracker sandwiches. Cheese is probably a better idea because you're a lot less likely to have someone around you with an airborne or dairy allergy compared to an airborne peanut allergy. Like if you're in a public space and you decide it's time to eat your stuff. So you can do that. You can save a lot of time, but if you really need something to actually eat, or if you're out with friends and it's a social thing, then I'd say the cost is justifiable. So, for example, let's say I was going to upstate New York to visit my relatives over there. I would accordingly bring one protein bar per meal and one cheese cracker sandwich pack per snack time, plus popcorn for a movie because I just can't watch a movie without popcorn. It's a lot less enjoyable without popcorn. Yeah, last time I went there, I brought a protein bar for the ride there to have during lunchtime, and then for dinner that night I went to Dinosaur Barbecue with everyone there, and it was delicious. But being at home, I can easily have ChatGPT generate the recipe, modify it to my preference, and then make a grocery list, and then I can add those to my Star Market app list. You know what? I think after I record this video, I'm going to sit down and make every possible recipe I can think of that I want with ChatGPT, and then save it, and then document where I can find the materials for it. Yeah, that's something to do. Anyway, I believe I brought in another protein bar or two to cover the second day, which was the day of my the day of the party I went to, and then the drive home. And then recently, last October, for the wake and funeral I went to, where my grandparents were in town for. I remember the day of the wake because we had to leave at like noon from their house. I brought a protein bar each for lunch and dinner, and a pack of peanut butter cracker sandwiches each for afternoon and evening snack, just to cover my bases. So while I was waiting at my grandparents' house while they ate their big meal, because they eat their big meal at lunchtime, they refer to it as dinner, but I refuse to use that because I know in my heart that's just an inaccurate and misleading term for it. And then honestly, I learned when I was over there in December that they often don't eat dinner, like dinner time dinner, or they have something very light. Maybe it's a result of being older, I don't know. I just know that I avoided the need to make any pit stops for proper meals, which would have which would have been more costly to me. Of course, on the day of the funeral, there was the luncheon they hold after funerals. I actually still only ate my protein bar and my peanut butter cracker sandwiches because I didn't really care for what they had to offer. Not to mention, I just wanted to go as soon as possible. I was mostly there to pay my respects for that relative, especially for the living descendants that I knew, and then also help my mom get my grandparents around. But yeah, on outings like that, I think it's best to avoid going to restaurants where possible to keep down costs, avoid overeating. Because I remember after Dinosaur Barbecue, I was really stuffed. Yeah, I generally avoided overeating in Florida because it was I mostly went to the Publix and got each day's supply as I went. I mostly ate what my grandparents made for lunch, which is what we are calling it, except for the Well, at least once. The other times I picked up a sandwich from the Publix while I was out there. But yeah, to avoid potential waits like what my friend went through, that's what I generally recommend for the just cook at home. ChatGPT has everything you could. ChatGPT can make any kind of recipe you want. Save it for social events or when you're not on a when you're not in a hurry. I think I've gone on long enough. My friend made me realize that's just another benefit of cooking at home. You don't have to make everything from scratch. I personally am going to also avoid getting the prepackaged deli sandwiches they have at Star Market now because I realized there's also a meals tax on those. So that's the 7% Massachusetts state meals tax. So my rule of thumb is if it's if it gets the 7% meals tax, I am going to avoid it. So I'm going to leave it there. Comment down below if you agree with me or if you think I'm being too hard on restaurants and fast food and all of that. Give this video a like, subscribe for daily videos. I'll see you soon.